Good morning, my peoples. Good morning, my peoples. In our lifesaver operation, in our abundant lifesaver operation, every day, we were given the breath of life in our nostrils, in our mother's wombs, to give abundant life. The Holy Spirit says, I came that you might have life and have it abundantly. It's the whole sole purpose for why every being, when you receive the breath of life into your nostrils, you're getting the breath of life so that you can have abundant life and have it abundantly. The only reason why I came to breathe into your nostrils the breath of life is so that you will have abundant life all the days of your life. It's called everlasting life. Every being that has ever been born through the holy womb, there's only one womb because there was only one bride that was created. If Adam was supposed to have concubines, then God would have created concubines in the beginning in the very first marriage. He didn't. The only model that we accept is the very first one. One bride, one womb, one holy womb, one holy bloodline. In the beginning was the Word, the holy womb. In the beginning was the Word was God. The Word was with God, the husbandman-in-law. The God that it's speaking about in the beginning is the God of procreation. When the two become one, that is procreation. This is called the marital art of worship and the marital art of war, defense. The marital art of war, the marital art of worship, offense, and the marital art of war, defense. To protect the divine, sovereign, everlasting, abundant life covenant that was created. Marriage. The marital. It's not martial arts. There's no such thing. That's a myth. That's a reversal. It's the marital art of worship. The only place you get that word worship is and Adam knew Eve and the two became one. Worship. The marital art of worship in Procreation Illustrated. This is a PhD. The only place you can get it. The PhD, 4-dimensional. Four. Like the 4 seasons, there's a PhD for each season. 4-dimensional PhD in the marital art of worship and in the marital art of war, defense. The worship is offense, fruitfulness. You have dominion. It's 4D, 4 dominion. You have dominion. Be fruitful, offense, procreation, illustrated. Image, Come, let us create. There's no such thing as Elohim. There's no such word as Elohim in Genesis chapter 1. Because God ain't a Hebrew. So when your pastors get in the pulpit and they put a word and they translate a word for a people 6,000 years into sin, and they apply that word to the God of heaven in the beginning, you a thief and a liar. You cannot define God in the Hebrew tongue, because the Hebrews are wicked and God ain't no Hebrew. God did not call himself Elohim. God would not have spoken to his bride when he's creating and say, let us create. And they put the word Elohim when them two is talking to brainwash you to believe that God is a Hebrew. God ain't no Hebrew. And they messed up. Because when the angel came to Mary, they didn't put a Hebrew name on the angel that came from heaven and told Mary what the baby's name is. They messed up. Genesis 1, they put a Hebrew term when the beings from heaven are speaking. They put a Hebrew tongue in the mouth of the beings from heaven in Genesis 1. But in Luke chapter 1 and 2 and 3, they ain't put a Hebrew tongue in the heavenly being. They messed up in your Bible. They messed up in your Bible. They ain't put a Hebrew word in the tongue of the being that gave you the name of the baby. They put a heavenly name. They let the being say the name in the heavenly tongue. It ain't a Hebrew word. Emmanuel is not Hebrew. The angel said his name is Emmanuel because it has a heavenly meaning to us. God dwells with us. Huh? Just like Michael ain't a Hebrew name. Michael ain't a Hebrew name. Satan testifies that when the Holy Spirit bride, there's a holy womb name for Michael. It's spelled with a different letter in the middle. No CH in Michael when it's the queen. And we don't even put a CH in it when it's the king. Because so many of y'all have defiled that name. We don't use the CH version that y'all lowered to the goat and y'all claim y'all the goat. The goat is what gets sacrificed. Y'all talking about y'all, yeah, you the goat. We the lions that eat goats. We the lion kings that eat goats. While all of y'all is Michael, that includes Michael Jordan. That includes all of y'all clowns. But I bet none of my kids better talk about no goat, because the goat is Azazel, the scapegoat, that was killed and slaughtered every year for them killing the Son of God. For all of you little kids following, that's why it says you must be the head and not the tail. You can't want to be like none of these fallen clowns. If they ain't direct to you and if they ain't train you in the ways that you should go, You gonna watch an image of somebody else. Don't know what they do when they outside the light of the camera. Don't know what life they live, and then you gonna emulate them? Cause some marketing company, some Gatorade company, some shoe company done told you that they the best, and they done created a term called GOAT, and now you identify. Listen, those of us that was in the streets when Michael Jordan was playing ball, he wasn't on none of our he ain't come to none of the parks in the East Coast that was the #1 parks in the world. Nah, he ran down to North Carolina. He born in Brooklyn. We ain't see Michael Jordan on none of the courts that make you the king of kings and the lord of lords in the streets. Nah, he went the corporate route. Nah, he went the McDonald's and the fast food route. He went the endorsement route. He went the NCAA. Let me go out to the suburban, rural. Let me move from where you got to be the king of the mountain, and you got to show up and you got to show and prove, and ain't no cameras and ain't no lights and ain't no refs and ain't no nothing, and you got to step on that court, and it's 4 courts, and you got to play your way from court D to court A. And then you got to stay on court A every day. And then you got to be the king of the mountain on court A. And then we, the streets, decide. It takes 1,600 judges in the hood to make one NBA player. For every one NBA player, for every one pro that y'all running around, it takes 1,600 of us slaughtering him, defending him, blocking his shots, stealing his ball, beating him every day, sending him home with losses. It takes 1,600 of us to make every one of them clowns that y'all worship. Can't nobody go out here on no court, play by themselves and become a pro. It takes 1,600 of us to sharpen them, to piss them off, to beat them every day. It took 1,600 of us to make Michael Jordan. It took 1,600 of us to make Larry Bird. It took 1,600 of us. And we don't want to play in your camera, in front of your cameras. We don't want your blood money, because you got to jump through their hoops when you get their endorsement deals. You got to say what they tell you to say. You got to put on their image when you take their blood money. We good. We go directly to the source of the procreator. So, these are receipts. These are receipts. This says 2009 Junior Guard Competition. Break the cycle, we did it. Okay? So behind me is the area. This is a homecoming, all right? This is a homecoming. May the 20, starting on like May the 19th, the whole week of, May the 19th. My son Xavier's birthday is May the 19th. My little nephew, Bryce Paul, my mom's last born grandbaby. Her first grandbaby, Xavier, and her last grandbaby, Bryce Paul. May is my mama. May is my grandmama, Evelyn Webb, Aura Lillian Leggett, Beverly Leggett. May is their month. Because when I got married in May the 13th. When I had my first daughter in May the 4th. Mother's Day is always in May, the day before our wedding anniversary. So for 29 years, this is 29 25. For 29 years, I've been lifting up my bride, Kanisha, on Mother's Day, and then lifting her up again the day after Mother's Day is always our wedding anniversary. 29 years. The very first time I did that, in 1996, Trenton, New Jersey, my grandmama Webb, my grandmama Leggett, the very first time I did that, and Mother's Day, May 12th, Mother's Day, the Sunday before May the 13th, let's say it like that. Then May the 13th, my bride, and then 1997, May 19th, Xavier was born. From May 1997, May has been my month. 1999, when Deja dropped on May the 4th, May is my month. Okay? We opened the month from 1999. We opened the month of May with Deja, May the 4th. My whole city, my whole hood, Trenton, New Jersey, Hamilton, listen, my whole hood. You ask my little brother Larry, my mom, listen, May, when her grandbaby's birthday come down, the whole city, my whole family, my whole family all across the country, they already know. Beverly Webb, listen. When Deja and Xavier came into this world, May the 4th, Mother's Day. Kanisha it's through the roof. Kanisha is the Queen of Queens and the Lord of Lords in my hood, my family. For putting Beverly Webb, because in our family, babies are the currency. There is no other currency. Beverly was not whole until she had grandbabies. There is no other currency defined by Evelyn Webb. When Evelyn Webb not only had her 10, but the way she had her 10. And the way she said, listen, I'm doing exactly what my mother did, Gertrude, who I believe had 10 too, between 8 to 10 as well. I believe 10. We're going to confirm it. And then the way my grandmother Webb said, listen, I'm sticking to the script and doing exactly what I see my father, John O. Wilson, and my mother, Gertrude Wilson, do. So when Evelyn Webb doubled down, Beverly's only desire was to triple down. Not just to have 2 children, not just to, listen, fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth. So since that was taken from her in her generation, her whole dream was, listen, I'm going to get it out of my grandbabies and my great-grands. So when mine started coming, and listen, this right here, this is for destiny, okay? My mom and I, we created entities and trust funds for each one of her babies when they came out. Xavier, we created fashion statement. My mom said, this is my physical fashion statement, these babies. When Deja came out in 99, Hollywood Studios. Stick to the script. Create the image. Gertrude, John, we got a blueprint. built on the Apostle Philip. You give them to eat. Apostle Philip is built on the in the beginning Jordan River family group. Eve was created in the Jordan River, and the wedding happened when Adam and Eve, and Genesis 4:25, and then when Eve had Seth, not the Cain killing Abel. Genesis 4:25 bypasses all that, and it says, and then the people began to call on the name of the Lord from Adam and Eve's son Seth to Noah, perfection and righteousness on earth. Genesis 4:25 to the end of Genesis 5. Perfection and righteousness after sin on this earth, where individuals lived on the same exact earth, in the same exact world. After Cain killed Abel and all of that, Seth was born, and they all rejected Cain's decision, and they chose the in the beginning covenant that God gave their mother and father before Cain killed Abel. And it says from Seth through all of his brothers, all the way up to Noah, they all lived 1,000 years, had many sons and daughters with one wife on this same earth. Perfect. And then God destroyed Cain and all of those that chose to live the same life that Cain did, because God already had a line on earth after sin that's perfect. And so we have chosen to do like our grandmothers, my mother, and all of them, and raise our babies in the same exact in the beginning covenant of marriage that the Messiah told Philip. And then my grandfather created a hospital. It says the sick have need of a physician. The masterpiece physician, place where you come and get transformation and transfiguration. We don't have no family church in Hamilton Township, Trenton, New Jersey. That's the masterpiece physician. The sick have need of a physician. I have not come to heal, He said, I came to heal the sick. I didn't come to those who is well. I came to the dead to give them life. I don't need to come to those who are still perfect, walking in my covenant in front of me. I need to come to those who is dead and about to go to the flames and give you life. Okay? So that's what we done. All right? That ain't no church. That's a hospital. The sick have need of a physician. Okay? So it's the last time we're going to do it with my grandfather, John O. Wilson, Gertrude Wilson, with my grandmother, Evelyn Webb, and John Webb, with my mother, tried to do Beverly Leggett, with my grandfather, Frank E. Leggett, and my grandmother, Aura Lillian Leggett, what they definitely did. So this is an unbroken chain, an unbroken line. We haven't skipped a beat. My mom and my Uncle Reggie represent exactly what my grandfather and grandmother taught us. Then me and my bride have continued it. It's an unbroken chain. And now I have my children. And so this homecoming is to declare that my children are going to do the same thing that we have done, and we go into the kingdom. Because he said it only takes 4 generations. Okay? 4 generations. 120 years, 4 generations. Visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd, 1, 2, 3, and 4th generation. The 3rd is always Greece, and the 4 is always Rome. That's where you get the 7 horns on the dragon. The 3 is always Greece, 1, 2, 3. Based off the vision of Daniel, the third beast is Greece. To the third, the leopard beast that has 7 heads, that's Greece, black Greeks. And 4th generation, the black Romans. You know, Julius Caesar, Pontius Pilate, you know, the ones that Herod was on the bottom of when they killed the Messiah. Greece and Rome, black Greece and Rome. Y'all still in black Greek and black Rome. 4 generations of it though. And at the end of the 4 generations, let me tell you, my name is Frank E. Leggett V. My Uncle Reggie is Frank E. Leggett IV. My Uncle Reggie is Frank E. Leggett IV. We completed the 4 generations, y'all, unbroken. And this is a homecoming. At the age of 50, the lands of the fathers comes back to the sons. So if I'm Frank E. Leggett V, you can't sell our father's lands. You can't you can't buy our father's lands. God allowed our fathers to lease lands to individuals, but you got a 50-year window, and every lease is up after 50 years. Matter of fact, you get a 7-year window. Say Leviticus, say the book of Leviticus. After every 7 years, cancel all debt, erase all contracts, start from scratch. And then the wedding feast of trumpets says, count 7 of those 7 years, and then give the bride a whole year. Give all of the brides the whole year makeover like Esther. Wedding feast of trumpets. When he said, do this in remembrance of me, these commandments are wedding feast commandments that God put in the calendar, that pagans erased, and they gave you carnivals. Caribbean pagans who worship the Roman Catholic Church. And now in the month of May, y'all about to start y'all Roman Catholic Church pagan carnivals all across the world and all across the country. And when he said, do this in remembrance of me, there were wedding feasts that Nebuchadnezzar's son, Belteshazzar, the handwriting on the wall is against your carnivals. The handwriting on the wall was against your carnivals. Belteshazzar came in after Daniel. God had broken Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar saw the God of Daniel and declared the God of Daniel is the one true God. And the pagan gods of our carnival festivals and that we've been, our Easter celebrations and all of these pagan traditions, our Christmas celebrations, Nebuchadnezzar and them created Christmas. Nebuchadnezzar and them created Easter. Nebuchadnezzar created the 8 calendars, pagan calendars that y'all still implement to this day. And then when God broke Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar had a son that deferred to a man named King Cyrus from Isaiah 45. And then the book of Esther comes when King Cyrus comes in and Nebuchadnezzar bows out and King Cyrus puts his son Darius on the throne. And Darius marries Queen Esther. And Darius gives Queen Esther, Esther chapter 2. This is what we're about to film and document. This is what this summer camp that we're doing. Hollywood Pictures, Hollywood Studios. We're going to give you back the image of the perfect bride. All of the queen, all of the little babies, starting May the 19th. We enrolling right now. Today, yo, you got 2 days. You got 48 hours to enroll. Okay? I got my team, Sister P and Adonai. I got companies set up. We built companies. I got a team of Full Sail students that we recruited last year in April with my mom. Mom Harris was down here and got sick. I got a team of Full Sail students that's gonna get back paid to run this summer camp. I got a science, technology, engineering, arts, and math lab. No. I got an innovation lab. I got a procreation illustrated innovation lab where my son, little Damon, has schools that he's putting up all over the country. Little Mount Sinai's, little Pine Forges, little Oakwoods. You see what that says? It says Damon Leggett. In appreciation to Damon Leggett, thanks for your time, dedication. Dundee Hornets. Championship coach right here. I'm standing in the county where we moved down here into this county. This is Osceola and Polk County. This is Osceola and Polk County. Our house is right on the dividing line. So both counties, Osceola County and Polk County, we dominated. You see that? 2012? My son was born in 2012. So my brother, Craig Morgan's mama, she was the first of our mamas to die. And then her oldest son, Charles Morgan, died the year that Destiny was born. Destiny is the breath of life for Craig's mama vision for our family. Damon is Destiny is the breath of life birthright blessing. The birthright daughter, okay? For Craig's mom and my mom. All of my children are testify about Craig Morgan's mama and my mama's vision. And Evelyn Harris is the living testimony of those women, because her son, Brian Williams, and her other daughter, Viola Dodie Williams, Dodie Viola Church. Even when my sister went to Pine Forge Academy for 4 years, and my father was moved all the way up to Plainfield from Trenton to pastor in Plainfield. Our relationships with Brian Williams and Viola Church and every single son and daughter of Aura Lillian Leggett at the East Trenton Ephesus, this is what y'all don't understand. That wasn't my dad's babies. Those was my mom and my grandma's babies. My mom and my grandma made a covenant with Evelyn Harris for every neighborhood that we served in. So while my father thought he took orders from a corporate entity that my grandfather and grandmother stood against, we don't acknowledge no corporate entities because we got a heavenly covenant, a financial covenant of abundant life. Any corporate entity is a pirate of the Caribbean. That's what I'm telling y'all. It's a lowering of the bar from the in the beginning blessing that God gave those who enter into a marriage covenant. If you ignore that your blessing comes from the Lord that has anointed your head with oil when you said, I do, and then you look to a corporate entity to get abundant life, that is when you have become a slave. And that's what they teach you to do, not us. My grandfather and grandmother stood against the entities. My grandfather and grandmother went and got they money back, and they built wealth for them and their sisters and their nieces and their nephews and all of that. And in one generation, because of the Greco-Roman educational system had been built in 2 generations after World War II. So now you have an entity teaching a counterfeit philosophy, and more people are going to learn in those institutions than learn the original covenant. And we have been keepers of the original, in the beginning. All right, so this is a homecoming of the in the beginning. This is not a Hebrew covenant. This is not a Caribbean covenant. This is not a U.S. covenant. That's all new. There's nothing new under the sun. This is in the beginning was the word. In the beginning was the covenant. In the beginning was dominion. He said, I'm the first and the last, dominion. I'm the beginning and the ending. I'm in the beginning and I'm in the ending. Everything else is an imposter and a counterfeit in the middle. And that's what I always show up and destroy. The GOAT. The GOAT always dies on the Day of Atonement, y'all. All right? Day of Atonement is Judgment Day. There's a Judgment Day every year. There's a Judgment Day coming on the calendar this year. So we trying to get y'all in homecoming already back in the wedding feast attire. So that when you get to the Day of Atonement, we're not even going to tell y'all what the actual date is.